Texas Parks and Wildlife television series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sportfish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $40 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. And by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to keep Texas wild with the support of proud members across the state. Find out more at tpwf.org. Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. Coming up on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
You're on a deck that's pitching and rolling, and then you have to get on another deck that's pitching and rolling. It's exciting.
It was 30 years ago that the Texas Parks and Wildlife television series got its start. In 1990, we took a look at some of Central Texas's favorite swimming holes.
Roxanne and Elvis, they are so passionate about their land stewardship for all wildlife species.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, taking Texans outside for 30 years.
It's the beginning of a week on South Padre Island.
You pushing? Yeah, I'm pushing.
These Texas game wardens are beginning theirs with a trip to the store to stock up on supplies.
I've already got bread.
So we need sodas, coffee.
Come to the store, get what we need, then go to work.
South Padre is not their destination.
We're in some motion sickness.
It's more of a jumping off point.
He might need it.
These wardens will be spending the next few days living on a boat.
Okay, don't go in the water.
Serving on a week-long patrol of the lower Gulf Coast.
For the 5 days that we're here on this boat, we are available 24/7. Coast Guard does not hesitate to let me know when they need help. We also work very close with Customs and Border Patrol.
For Sergeant James Dunks, launching a 65-foot boat is just another trip to the office as a Gulf game warden.
From the time I get a call, I can be out the jetties in less than 10 minutes.
It is outside those jetties offshore that Gulf wardens spend much of their time. With just one other boat this size, they patrol over 350 miles of Texas coastline. James and his team watch the lower coast, and a crew out of Galveston takes the upper, enforcing the law in state waters up to 9 miles from shore. They are busiest during the summer season, when commercial Gulf shrimpers vie for the largest brown shrimp.
This is our shrimp patrol that we do for about 2 months straight, do week-long shifts.
How you doing?
Patrol the Gulf of Mexico for any type of shrimpery violation, fishery violation,
Capitán está arriba.
or basically anything else that we come across.
State game warden. How you doing, Captain?
On this evening, the wardens find shrimpers following the law. But after sunset, they do spot something that concerns them.
This is not legal. This is a Mexican longline.
But it is not in Mexico.
We're about half a mile north of the Mexican border and about 2.5 miles offshore. It's basically a long trot line. These lines could be as long as 4 and 5 miles long.
In darkness and sloshing seas, the crew pulls in the line as quickly as possible.
Line's back that way, James. Whoa, whoa, whoa! It's in the wheel.
These lines can entangle boaters, but mostly they threaten fish.
Big black drum. He should be just fine.
Bye-bye, fishy. Today's your lucky day.
They're primarily targeting sharks for the fins.
Little shark.
You see sea turtles on them. We've pulled blue marlin, tarpon, all kinds of fish. They just catch and kill anything that bites those hooks. It's not uncommon, and it's just devastating to the resource.
It's a shark.
After saving some sea life, they reach the Mexican border and cut the line.
And that's it. We've probably picked up a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles of line. This is what we're out here to do, is to protect this resource.
It's well after midnight before the crew returns to port for some sleep.
Not enough.
But before long, they're back at it.
Living on a boat with a bunch of guys for 4 or 5 days is pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, that's definitely like high school and college, having an apartment with some buddies or something, living in tight quarters.
We all know each other.
Getting ready for work.
We're not strangers by any means, but it definitely throws a different element into things.
Unfortunately, before the boat can begin day 2 of patrol, there are some technical difficulties to contend with.
120.
Okay. There's always something to do on a boat in terms of maintenance. All right, that works.
Always something. I need a diver.
There is also more trouble from that illegal line encountered the night before.
You can see where it was sucked up into the strut.
A diver from the fire department is called out to help.
Before we leave the dock again, I want to make sure it's clean, so we don't have any major mechanical failures. Spent a lot of time outside the jetties in the deeper water, the bluer water, and I kind of find a peace with myself once I do get out there. It's relaxing, but then again, it can turn into work in a hurry. Bars offshore. Salvador, our Cap Williams, channel 16 over.
This is going to be fun.
Below deck, the wardens prepare for what could be a tricky boarding.
Anytime it's rough, it gets interesting. But I think we're good on this one. See what happens.
You're on a deck that's pitching and rolling, and then you have to get on another deck that's pitching and rolling, and sometimes not in the same direction. So it makes it kind of dangerous.
Yeah, this is the fun part right here.
And it definitely makes you know that you're alive.
Boy. Texas Game Wardens, how's it going?
Safely on board a shrimp boat, the wardens check the nets to see that they are legal.
Already did the birds.
Bycatch reduction devices allow turtles and fish a better chance of escape, reducing unintentional catch.
They don't have anything that they're not supposed to have.
By ensuring nets are rigged properly and extra fish are not being kept, game wardens help keep a $100 million a year Texas industry sustainable.
I think they do a very good job. They don't let anybody get away with something that's obvious breaking the law, but they really try to work with the crews. They put a lot of effort into it. We really appreciate that.
By midweek, storms offshore make the seas too rough for boarding, so the wardens direct their efforts into port.
Seas were between 6 and 8 foot. So we're gonna go up into the port of Brownsville, see if we can't locate any boats that might have come in last night. They're gonna be unloading shrimp. There's always something to do.
Ten two.
This one is 10 feet 2 inches. I'm not even stretching, okay?
We had a little problem with their BRD, their bycatch reduction device.
Okay, remember it's got to be 9 feet or less.
So we're just going to write them a warning on that.
If education can fix a problem, then we'll educate. If education is not working, then it's time to enforce the law. The point of our job is not to write tickets, it's conservation and protecting the resource.
On their last day, the wardens are called to do some general law enforcement.
We are on scene with fishing vessel Jessica Ann in position 2611.67.
We have just received a call from Coast Guard, a disgruntled shrimper on board a shrimp boat. So we are here to assist and back up the Coast Guard.
The wardens board and soon discover something else.
Thank you.
Okay, he's 99.
Who's the originating agency?
One of the shrimp boat crew is wanted for a parole violation, so the boat is escorted back to the docks.
If it's a parole violation, they'll extradite those.
The suspect is handed over to local law enforcement.
Oh yeah, puts an end to our week. Good cap off to it.
Another fun-filled week on the Gulf of Mexico. My passion is the ocean, but then again, after 5 days, I'm ready to go home. I do enjoy going home to see my family.
Though this week's patrol may be over, these wardens will be back on duty soon, guarding the Gulf.
I'm always going to volunteer for it, not just because of the work, but because of the time you spend with the guys that you work with. I think that's what keeps drawing us back to it.
I love it. I love being on the coast. I couldn't see myself working anywhere else. I couldn't imagine a better job.
Come.
Roxanne and Elvis, they are so passionate about their land stewardship on their property for all wildlife species, not just the Houston toad. But they have taken leaps and bounds since they started through the Landowner Incentive Program, including native grass planting and pine reforestation and prescribed burning, and they've utilized just about every tool they've learned about on their property.
When Elvis and I moved from Colorado to Texas in 2004, we bought this place and needed a lot of work, and that started the whole process of learning and doing on our 53 acres.
I grew up and was raised just outside of Manhattan. So when we moved down here, I really wanted to have some land and to feel closer to nature and being part of the wildlife.
The name on the gate is Ranch El Zunzun.
My father was really taken by the amount of hummingbirds that we had on the property.
It's actually, I learned later, a species of hummingbird endemic to Cuba, and Elvis is Cuban.
They call it Zunzun, and I guess it's from the movement and the sounds of the hummingbirds as they fly through the air.
In the mail comes this sign, Ranch El Zunzun. His dad sent it to us.
Whenever we go out traveling and we see something that has a hummingbird on it, we always end up buying it, bringing it back home.
When the fires happened, I was administrator of Bastrop County's Lost Pines Habitat Conservation Plan. Basically, I was tasked with leading the effort for the environmental recovery component. Every once in a while, I will still get a phone call or an email, Bastrop County, this is Roxanne, from a property owner that I used to work with a question.
She's known as the Toad Lady.
Well, officially I'm no longer the Toad Lady, but because I was the first administrator and happened to be female, I think I'm always going to be the Toad Lady.
There's some more seedlings over here. We planted, the 3,500 trees the year right before the drought. Here, this whole area was filled with cedars.
Yeah.
Just couldn't even walk through here. And we had that removed and cleared and did the prescribed burn back in 2012. Yeah, you can still see all the burn scars on the trees.
For our wildlife management, we provide supplemental shelter, which are the brush piles. We have five nest boxes, which are frequented by bluebirds. We have a bat box.
We're seeing a lot more deer lately, and unfortunately coyotes are coming around, but that's just the way of nature. I feel honored and lucky to be able to have the opportunity to be a caretaker even for a short period of time.
I think small properties have a real importance in the overall landscape. 5 acres in isolation, but if you work with that 5 acres, and then you work with the 5 acres that their neighbor has, and you look at it holistically, you're going to be managing a lot larger landscape. And people working together, I think we can make some good things happen in the state.
It was 30 years ago that the Texas Parks and Wildlife television series, originally known as Made in Texas, got its start. To celebrate this milestone, we're taking a look back at some of the interesting stories and unique characters that we've discovered over the past 3 decades. In 1990, we took a look at some of Central Texas's favorite swimming holes and what was being done to protect these unique resources.
Central Texas is the location for some of the finest swimming holes in the country. They are places that give us a glimpse into the unspoiled corners of Texas, places that remain much the same as when prehistoric peoples gathered at these spots, claiming the banks as their first permanent homes. Many swimming holes are traditional gathering places for families and friends. Krause Springs, just outside of Spicewood, is such a place. Located on the property of Mr. Elton Krause, who bought it some 40 years ago.
Years ago, I was baptized here on this place. And we have lots of weddings here, receptions.
The sound of running water is a soothing backdrop to the lush green maidenhair ferns and the canopy of towering cypress trees that envelop the pool. For those looking for a bit more adventure, there's Devil's Waterhole at Inks Lake State Park in Burnett County. The dark water, surrounded by orange cliffs of granite and quartz, provides for a kind of natural amusement park, complete with all the noise, peril, and excitement of a roller coaster ride. Swimming holes are also places of solitude and meditation. For some, these pockets of natural beauty become an integral part of their daily lives.
It's just real refreshing. It's like a daily baptism or something. I don't know how to describe it.
I come here basically because it's just, like I said, a really special place. It's there's a solitude, a peace.
Go for it.
The fact that our springs, rivers, and streams are threatened by uncontrolled growth is becoming a highly charged political battle in many communities throughout Texas. This is what all the shouting's about. In the heart of Austin is Barton Springs Pool, one of the largest natural spring-fed swimming holes in Texas. A mist of confusion has risen concerning the effect that development is having on the health of the springs. It has become a fight, the two most vocal groups being those who want to continue a program of development on top of the recharge zone and those who oppose any new construction at all.
As of last count, if my numbers are correct, we have 378 speakers in the box who have signed up. We can hear approximately 100 speakers tonight.
We need stronger protection in our watershed, in our inner city, not the mayhem against our environment which will result with weakening amendments.
You must find all the causes of pollution and treat them.
You will represent all the city of Austin, and don't get caught up in the cause célèbre of the moment. Please continue the growth.
I think without water we won't have life. With all due respect, I cannot get away from the feeling that the new ordinance, as proposed, is simply a no-growth ordinance.
It is very simple. If you build over the aquifer, you will pollute our water supply.
The data utilized to justify this ordinance has been manipulated, fitted, converted, and ultimately ignored by the staff to meet the political agenda of growth controls through water quality.
It is my hope that you will realize that while a few small businessmen may be inconvenienced by a decision to pass this strengthened ordinance, it will also stop the destruction of a city, not just a swimming hole.
There is no doubt that these natural resources are being damaged. The challenge is to control and hopefully repair as much of the damage as possible. In Salado, a citizens group is formed to monitor the many springs that feed the river running through town.
We are just a group of citizens who are concerned with the quality of water in our little creek, which is our town treasure and our village treasure. We don't have a town. And so what we are doing is just to try to ride herd on what is happening with our creek, and if it should have something go wrong, we want to be right on top of it. We have 4 teams which are designed to help supplement the recording of the quality of the water in the creek by the Texas Water Commission. They have trained us to gather a sample each month from 4 different sites.
Should take about 4 or 5 drops.
Until colors faint yellow.
That's
that,
fine. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
That's,
I guess
that's
what
you want right there. And don't put any more in.
Right.
We check the water temperature, we check the pH, or the amount of alkalinity in the water. We check the dissolved oxygen and the dissolved solids, or the conductivity of the water.
Amazing. Well, isn't that amazing?
That's
oh, great.
That must have been the right amount.
Where's that?
That ought to be clear.
The monitoring here is simply to make us feel better if we see some little kids here swimming in the creek. If we've checked it, well, and we know that there's nothing bad happening with the water, well, we can watch them with a clear conscience.
Both citizen groups and government agencies must take the responsibility for the future of these natural resources. Hamilton Pool, just 10 miles west of Bee Cave in Travis County, was purchased by the county in 1985. The preserve is now managed as a natural area, with emphasis on habitat protection and restoration. Since its purchase, the pool has slowly begun to return to its original natural state.
There's got to be some better answers. Right now we have a lot of questions and not many people able to answer them. The main thing we are concerned about is just to keep a place so the kids and the grandkids and the friends can play in the creek.
Okay, Lee just launched. Jeff's in the air. Hopefully I don't make a face plant on this landing, huh?
This series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $40 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. And by Texas Parks and Wildlife Foundation, helping to keep Texas wild with the support of proud members across the state. Find out more at tpwf.org. Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.